Hello. While I was in a wooded area today, I got the feeling that I wanted to do an audio recording. And as I was walking to the spot, I often sit on a big rock by a small, moving creek. I'm not sure why I said moving creek. The water that moves over the rocks. I asked the question, what is most wanting to come through right now? What is most needed? What does the collective most need to know? And instantly, my whole body felt I just felt a little not quite dizzy and nauseous, but in that spectrum, and I felt ungrounded. It took me a second. I had to walk very slowly. I felt like I was losing my footing. So I made my way to the rock, and that sounds so dramatic. I mean, I was fine, but I just slowed down and went to the rock, took off my shoes, and I just did a grounding, I don't know if meditation is the right word. It's something like that. And sometimes I do different things. I did some breathing and visualization and just sat in silence listening to the water. And it was pretty cloudy. And right at the end, when I was nearing about to put my shoes back on, the sun started to come out. And I felt like I kept hearing songs in my head that were connected to the sun right before it came out. Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. I can't remember who sings that. That came in. And before I got there, I kept hearing the song in my head, I'm Gonna Let It Shine. So lots of sun references. So the sun card in tarot may be relevant right now. If you feel called, you can look up the meaning. I'm specifically hearing the Light Seers Tarot, so you can Google that if you feel called to. The number 19, which is connected to the sun. And as I was walking, I, on the same block, saw 9999, 4 nines, and then 2 cars down on license plates, I saw 888. And generally for me, 888, what I'm feeling now is this, the very much so of the infinity, the abundance of the flow of abundance. And the 4 nines to me really felt I've been seeing 3 nines a lot, really wrapping up these karmic cycles and loops. I'm going to say karmic cycles, ancestral karma patterns. I mean patterns. I believe the word karma translates to the word action. So it's just pattern. I'm hearing pattern disruption, pattern interruption. So now now is a great time to be instilling that. And if you're already doing that, then you're about to see a shift. And I think that's why I wanted to tune in, because I had a brief conversation with my mom earlier today, who she's very into crystals. She loves them so much. And I mean, I very much love them too, but she has so many and was selling them for a while, and that's her thing. And yeah, I don't know why I wanted to talk about her, but she mentioned something about grounding crystals, so that could be helpful for someone listening to this. And there's a couple where I'm staying right now. And so I, for this, decided to grab a few, which I don't always do. In fact, I haven't done this yet for a reading, where I've posted it. And I just felt drawn to bring, let's see what's in front of me. There's a pyrite, copper, shungite, tourmaline, and a wavellite. So any of these may connect to you in some way, and or if you feel called to work with them physically, or even just, in visualization, you can look up the metaphysical meaning to any of them if you're drawn to. I was going to go into some of the meanings, but I'm being guided not to, so at least not at this juncture. And then at the bottom of the other crystals I just mentioned is something called a cintamani. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I believe they call it the wish-fulfilling stone. And so before I started this recording, I was sitting and just sort of like tuning in. It was like silent around me, and I felt called to do like some light language and some intentions for the organic grid structures. So for those of you who might feel called to grid work in any way, this is like an extra message for you. If not, that's totally okay. You can let it fly, and if there's maybe something else that you were drawn to listen to in this video, then please keep listening. But if not, that is okay too. And I'm going to get back to the cintamani stone in a second. But there's also, I was guided to bring with me, it's like this handmade little oracle deck that I put together recently for a friend. I just went to her show, and she is a dancer, and she put together a choreographed show in her first dance company, and it was just like such an amazing process to witness. And she had these like beautiful photos on these like very thick pieces of paper that kind of reminded me of cards, and she's like, oh, I have so many of these, I don't know what to do with them. And she like stuck some in a bag for me, and then I just got inspired to like make her like a personal little oracle deck, just with like pencil. It's like nothing fancy at all, with her photos from the shoot of her show. So that could be relevant for someone, just any of the things that I just mentioned in terms of feeling inspired, creation, dancing or choreographing. Yeah. And so I was guided to bring these cards and just like maybe pull one or two. I don't feel called to do it yet, but I'm mentioning it now because it's funny. When I put the deck down in front of me, a card fell over, and it was right after I had finished doing the light language. I was called to do some light language and setting intentions into the crystals, and then like amplifying that through the organic grid structure and the crystalline frequency. And I was doing intentions, and I kept hearing in my head like the wish fulfilling stone. That's why I grabbed the cintamani and was just like infusing intention, and I'm not being guided to say exactly what came through, at least not yet. It was more just an opportunity I'm hearing, if anyone is listening to this, to kind of just like take a breath and maybe close your eyes for a second. Whoa. I paused, one, so you could do that, and two, because I'm hearing a very, very high-pitched frequency in my right ear. So high that I had to stop speaking for a moment. So yeah, if you want to close your eyes and just with me infuse any intentions for yourself, for the collective, from the highest good, in connection with the universal unconditional love template. And as I said, I already set my intentions for this reading and anyone who's drawn to listen to it, and allowing that to ripple out into, for the benefit of all beings in all realms and all dimensions. And if you need more time, you can pause, of course, and take as much time as you need and then come back. But my right ear now, after that high-pitched frequency, is just like, I just what it kind of feels like is like all the space was just created. Like, it's almost like, you know, when you're on a plane and your ears pop and you're in that like in between right after they pop, and it kind of feels almost like you almost can't hear anything for a second. It's like that, but it feels like almost eerily peaceful, in a great way. And so I brought up the deck because after that card dropped out about energetic, it said energetic signature, light language, mudra. It just dropped out again, so I'm reading it. Hand light language codes, palmistry check-in, mudras, energetic signature. So any of those things could be relevant, but it was like quite literally after I just did that and I didn't even know the card was there. So I felt guided to share it. And then right under that, before I heard the high-pitched frequency, I looked down at the bottom of the deck and it said pause, shift perspective. So now I'm getting like hanged man energy in the tarot. I'm not reading from a tarot deck. Sometimes I will just be shown different things and I'll just mention, and you can always go deeper for another meaning if you feel called to. I'm actually seeing like someone taking almost like opening a curtain or like moving a curtain around like on a rod. For some reason, specifically, like it's not like a straight rod, it like kind of curves, and like I'm seeing someone like move the curtain around, and I'm almost seeing like someone taking themselves out of a hangman energy, like by shifting perspective. Or like maybe you've been in this for a little while, this step back, needing to shift perspective, and it's like you finally opened the curtain or moved the curtain or made that shift of perspective. And maybe some of you are utilizing some of the things I just mentioned, like light language, palmistry, hand mudras in some way, working with the hands, you know, massage, Reiki, things like that. And if not, I think this might be a call for you to explore that if that's something you've been thinking about personally, and really fine-tuning your own energetic signature and what that means to you. And I can go into detail at another time if that's something someone here listening would like to hear more about. I absolutely will share my perspective on that. So back to the crystals. I'm just going to place the cards. Oh, I just split the deck and it says Divine Redirection, Angel Numbers. So that could be relevant. Back to the cintamani, the wish-fulfilling stone. So if no one, I didn't mean to say no one, but no coincidences. I was about to say, in case you have not heard of this, feel free to look it up. Or maybe the stone has been coming up for you, but I received this in a really, like, I guess, synchronistic way. A while ago, I had a client, I guess you can call her a client, who wanted some sessions, but she didn't have the funds at the moment to really, like, pay much. And she was like, I don't know why, but this crystal's just really calling to me. And I did the sessions for her, and then she sent this to me a few years ago. And I don't really keep many things, honestly. This is like something I just still have been guided to keep for a little while. Usually when crystals are given to me, they just kind of come to me quite often, and I'm like guided to usually like pass them along to whoever I feel, is in ready to have it. Not like in a, like I'll just get like a nudge. I'm like, okay, here you go. And so this is one of the ones that I've had for a while that I have not been guided yet. So there may be, there may be a message just, right there for someone. Maybe you've had something for a long time and it's time to maybe pass it along. And it could just be, it doesn't have to be something tangible, although it certainly can be. I'm hearing like, talents, gifts, wisdom, creativity, I'm hearing acting in my head for some reason. Yeah, like drama, acting. I was talking about dancing. And so please, like, if I didn't say the exact thing, just, maybe you can close your eyes for a second or just tune in and see what's calling you. And if you don't know at the moment, you can just set the intention, of course, and allow it to be shown to you in the highest timing. Anyway, back to the stone. What's super cool about it that I think you can hold it up. So it's dark purple, very dark purple, and it's very porous. I believe it might be some sort of like meteorite. I'm not positive. If anyone knows listening to this, please feel free to to correct me if I'm wrong. But when you hold it up to the light, like sunlight, it gets very light. Like there's like stripes, you can see purple stripes, and then you can it gets like translucent or opaque. You can like see through it. And they say, I don't even know where I've seen this, but apparently it's very connected to Sirius B, the star system. So that could also be relevant for someone here. And I remember when I received this, I just started getting all these downloads, like just information was just coming through as I was sitting with it. And my left hand just started to tingle. I remember my previous mentor, this is probably like in 2018, brought through something for me. She was saying that there's a frequency, like some sort of crystalline frequency from Sirius B, I believe, is actually what she said now that I'm remembering. That she's like, it's a crystal. She's like, I don't know what it is. I don't even know if it's here on Earth. Like it might be, it might not be. She was like, but it's like very connected to you. And like it's somehow going to show itself to you or find you in some way. And she was so spot on because, and I'm sharing this for some reason. I'm just being guided to share it. So maybe this will connect with someone. And a little bit after, so maybe like 3 years later, 2 years later, this crystal was sent to me, and it really, it was like so, like I just knew that, from her descriptions and the way that it came to me, like it was very synchronistic. And yeah, so there might be someone here who might have something gifted to them. Actually, it may have already happened, or it may happen where it just is something that, I'm hearing like makes you feel at home or reminds you of home. And I don't necessarily mean home like in the way of just like, oh, I found my next place to live. I mean like an inner home, an inner remembrance of like your own inner knowing of something that may be unique to you. And so with that, when I was guided to bring that over here, I had no idea I was going to talk about this today. When I was setting intentions with the crystals and tuning into the organic grid structures and kind of like imagining all of the crystalline frequencies like waving through, I just kept hearing in my head like wish fulfilling stone. So I do feel like there is some sort of, and I say this, of course we are all our own, co-creators in our life. So, if there's something that you trust yourself, if you've been feeling like you don't maybe quite know what it is, or you've just been feeling like there's some sort of, like wish fulfillment coming, I just heard like, take this as a confirmation. And of course, again, always trust yourself. But yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to share that, but I feel it really strongly. So I decided to. I just looked back up at that oracle deck, and the same card is on top, divine redirection. And I've noticed, like, as I've been speaking, I've been like very careful about I'm always somewhat careful about what I want to say, but I've been like extra careful and a little bit like shaky on my words, and I've been kind of stumbling on my words. So there could be some sort of, I think this came through yesterday. I recorded a video yesterday or the day before, and I was talking about the throat and the third eye a lot. like the pineal gland. So there could be some sort of like release in those areas. And I just remembered when I was sitting down in the woods today, and I asked that question, and I felt a little bit ungrounded. Excuse me. I remember my third eye was tingling. So yeah. And the color of the stone is like the cintamani is like that deep, deep purple with that like lightness of the purple. So yeah, there's like a lightning or I'm hearing someone here might be going through like another round of decalcification of the pineal gland. So like you're going to start feeling lighter, seeing things from a lighter perspective. And I was talking a lot about perspective. So, and the energy is like speeding up. So if you got this far, thank you for your patience, because I feel like it started off very slowly. And now it feels like it's like coming together. I heard the word melding in my head, so that could be something. And when I went to pick up the deck, a different card just like fell out somehow. Like there really is no rhyme or reason how it fell out. And it's scooter ride. And I wrote like an ellipsis, like ... something lost, and I use air quotes, will return in a new way. Oh, that's so funny, because we were just talking about how like something might come to you, something that might make you like feel at home. I'm not even like shuffling, these cards are just like falling out. And yeah, so that's a nice confirmation right there. I don't know why I just thought of the song here in my head. I guess from like the 90s or the 2000s. I love it when you put it right there. I don't know. Maybe someone was listening to that recently, or maybe you're about to hear it, or there just could be a message in that song for you, or maybe like it invokes some sort of memory. Yeah, I'm hearing someone like giggle, like, oh my God. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, so I was feeling like I wanted to do a guided release, but I'm not as much feeling that right now, instead of more to just kind of like weave it into whatever wants to come out, and then it may kind of happen as I speak. And when I say a release, so a few years back, I remember I was doing a lot of like, I guess you can say like shadow work and just intentional, cellular rewiring. I was talking about shifting earlier, and neural patterning shifting, and working with, body communication. These are things I still do, but it's a little bit more integrated now, so it's not as like maybe intense is the word I'm looking for. And during this period, I remember I had felt like as I was like shedding density and, releasing when I was in meditation one day, I felt like a part of me was like lifted off and like left. And I remember like in meditation tuning into that, and my team, I call them my team, if you want to say, your spirit team, parts of your high self, it can come through depending on, what energetic stream you're connecting to. And so if I'm not getting specific, I generally will just say my team. And I heard the word sheath. I was letting go of a sheath, like a layer. And it felt like, just a very thin layer, like almost like, what's that word? Mesh, like a mesh sheath. Of course it wasn't actually mesh, but that's the best way I can describe it. And it was like floating back into the ethers. And I asked for like a way to, like a process of like what was happening. And it felt like it was returning back to a nebula. Like I feel very connected to nebulas, and something that keeps coming through is like the nebula network, a nebula network. I believe I talked about nebulas in a different video. So if you're attracted to another video that I have made and nebulas come up, then this is like extra confirmation. And so the nebula you can utilize as a visualization, and you can always like look one up online or in a book and utilize that as part of your visualization. You know, I set extra protection like before this audio started. So you can kind of like tune into like this container, if you will, like energetic container for protection if you feel like you need a little bit extra protection. And just kind of like if you're ready to like shed a layer or let go, or maybe you just have. And when I was talking about feeling my high-pitched frequency at my ear, like in like that space that was created, you know, each of you will be maybe in different spots. So just take what applies to you. But yeah, you can just kind of tune in and like imagine, you know, even if this has already happened and you just kind of want to like feel it again, like tuning into that and imagining like a sheath, a layer of you that's ready to be released. I always recommend doing it like with love. Like if you still feel like you're letting a part of you go and there's still this like anger or turmoil or frustration or attachment of some sort, that you don't feel ready, like please don't force it. And that's okay. There's no judgment here. It's just like maybe it's time to, like, that might be coming up for a reason, and it's an invitation to just sit with that a little bit and just kind of observe and see what comes up. And, you know, it may just be that, just an awareness and observance, and then it's ready to go, or maybe it's just not time yet. You know what's best for you, and using your own discernment. And, yeah, and just, like, being very honest with yourself. I'm seeing the Judgment card in tarot, so, like, taking inventory. Excuse me. I do tend to burp when I'm doing these types of recordings, or sessions. So you may hear that. It's generally just me releasing some sort of energy. So it was like a tiny burp. So I feel like, yeah, someone here did just release, at least I'm hearing like a partial release. So maybe you released a little bit and then you were like, okay, that was good. But like you needed some time. Now it might be time to approach that again, or you'll know, I'm hearing, when it's time. Yeah, I just keep hearing it's absolutely not about force. So really, really trusting your own time. I was just drawn to look at the crystals again to see if there's anything else sticking out. I'm really drawn to the wavellite and the pyrite. So wavellite I had never even heard of before, and when I went to Arkansas for a retreat a couple years ago, we went to a crystal mine for clear quartz, and when we were about to leave, I saw this wavellite on the table, and I was just so drawn to it, and I asked. There was like a woman and a man who worked there, and I was like, what is this? And then they explained to me it's called wavellite, etc., etc. And I didn't see any when I was, out picking the clear quartz, and they were like, you should just take a piece. And they gave me a piece, and I was like, no, that's okay. And they're like, no, please, like, take it. You were drawn to it for a reason. So yeah, there's something really, as I'm like looking at it, it almost reminds me of like the ocean a little bit, water, the sea. So that could be relevant for someone. And now I'm hearing the word coral, like one of the parts almost looks like coral. So, and I just heard surfing in my head. So surfing could be relevant. I'm also hearing like it could be literal for someone out there, and it could also be like surfing in terms of like a metaphor, like surfing through life in some sort of way. Like when the current gets really big, and I'm sure a lot of people have used this analogy before, but this is just what I'm being shown, like waiting for that right wave, and then once you catch that wave, it's like I'm being shown someone like actually sticking the landing, I'm hearing, although I don't think that's a surfing phrase, but that's what I heard. And yeah, like no matter how many times you may have fallen on the wave, I feel like this next big wave that you're about to catch is like you're gonna stick it. So that's cool for someone. Let's see what else. Oh, and they say that wavellite, I believe, is connected to the heart chakra. So Okay, when I picked up the pyrite, I kept seeing these like little tiny like clusters, like 2 at a time. And I see that this one has like some sort of crystal key, where like you can place, I'm placing my index finger, the tip, like into the key. Yeah, so there's some sort of like, this could be, again, a literal key, like maybe someone is moving or about to, someone's like giving them a key to something. You know, whether it's someone's apartment or house, a business, I don't know, there's something about a key, being handed a key. But if that doesn't apply physically, like, you know, in the 3D world, then there may be, I'm hearing like a crystalline key, a crystal key, like in your own auric field that you are retrieving and utilizing into your next, like accessing your next level of consciousness, which is very exciting because when I first started to, for some of you, this is both. Both things will apply, but for some people, it may just be one of them. And as I'm like keeping my finger in this like crystal key, and they say that pyrite is connected to abundance, and they also call it fool's gold. So I'm hearing that phrase like shiny object syndrome. And not everything glitters is gold, you know, those can be connected. And I feel like whoever's listening to this has been very like, I'm hearing the word diligent in, even if maybe for a second you were drawn to something and then you kind of realized like there wasn't much surface there. Like I'm hearing whoever's listening to this is very great with like self-check, like checking in with that and making sure like the integrity is there. And, you know, and if someone listening to this for some reason is like, oh no, that's not me, maybe this is a call to be on the lookout for that. But for most people, I do feel like that is what's coming through. And that there's going to be some sort of like, I heard payoff. I mean, that's not the phrase that I normally would pull, but that's what I heard. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle these cards and just see if anything, it's funny to call them cards. If you hear it in the background, my apologies. That same card fell out, Divine Redirection Angel Numbers, so that could really be for someone. I put it back in, but it did like make itself known after I shuffled. And now I'm hearing in my head the 0 point frequency. Oh my God, I split the deck and there is again, Divine Redirection Angel Numbers. So yeah, I just heard trust where you're being led. And you know, when I say these things, sometimes I listen to other readers. Like I know it can sound a little bit like a broken record perhaps. But this pineal activation that I was talking about earlier, I do feel like in this divine redirection, like perhaps angel numbers have been really helpful in just, and you know, really any sort of sign and synchronicity, like has been repeating. And sometimes this happens with me actually, where I'll see something over and over and I'm like, well, thank you, this is so exciting, but like, am I missing something here? Like, what is the deeper message? And I'm hearing like, if you've been doing that and then you ask and you're just are not getting like a full thing, and you're just kind of like getting a feeling maybe, for example, I'm hearing like this is assisting in the rewiring of your subconscious. Like each time you see something, it's like, you know, okay, keep going, like keep doing what you're doing, keep going, like you know, it's getting there, it's here, it's there, it's, you know, it's kind of like I'm seeing someone like cheering and applauding someone from the sidelines. So it's like, you know, support. That's just like a specific message with that card. I just wanted to see why it kept showing itself, and that's what I was seeing. And I remember hearing like years ago, someone else was talking about how angel numbers can assist in rewiring the subconscious. And that really stuck with me. I mean, this is like, I don't know, maybe like 3 years ago. And I really like that. And I've always kind of like, yeah, just kind of stuck with me. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle and see if anything else wants to come through. I saw that pause, shift, perspective card again in the shuffle. So yeah, a lot of the same cards just keep showing themselves. Okay. Ooh. Okay, the bottom of the deck, declutter and downsize, reorg. Yeah, that has been coming out at the bottom of this deck like a lot. So the actual card that came out, rites of passage, initiation. Interesting. Yeah, so this whole like perspective shifting and I paused again because I wanted to just sit with it for a second, and I felt in my right ear when I heard that high-pitched frequency earlier, I felt it come back just now, but it was so much so much more subtle. Like I almost could have missed it if I wasn't that tuned in. Excuse me. And instead of being very high, it was like almost just a little like a click almost. And so there's something about that subtle messages. So it's like perhaps in the past, you know, when you go through these, you know, reactivations of the clairs, and now specifically, you know, we're talking about the pineal gland and the ears. And when I opened this container and I was talking about feeling that like ungrounded kind of like losing my footing energy, there is something about that, like going through these rites of passages. And again, this word keeps coming up a lot, samskara. You can Google it if you would like to, or just go deeper if you have a book that talks about it. But I remember it mentioning the 16 rites of passage. Samskara, I believe, is like an Indian philosophy. Speaking of the different rites of passage. So yeah, Indian culture in some way could also be relevant. Sanskrit. And so, yeah, the rites of passage. So there's something here like about that high pitch that I heard, and then it kind of coming back around. And this time my system was like very balanced. And usually when I hear high pitches and stuff, because it's been happening for so long, you know, I'm really used to it. So it just was kind of, I feel like, showing the contrast of going through these different rites of passage of when, you know, your body or your subtle bodies, your subtle systems, the subtle messages can easily be lost in translation if we're not really tuned in. So it's like having those shifts in perspective and those downtimes that seemingly seem slow, perhaps, to really like adjust and integrate these rites of passages, and trusting, even if you don't see exactly what's happening, you know, physically with your physical eyes all the time, it's like really stepping into that deep trust and allowing these integrations to like weave through and and show itself, you know, through these physical expressions. Like, you know, maybe you have been having ringing in your ears, or hearing high pitch frequencies, low pitch frequencies, pressure. I like to call it pressure shifting, where I'll just feel like all of a sudden, like my ears are like antennas, and they're just like readjusting to different frequencies. And sometimes I'll hear something clairaudiently, like a message. Sometimes my physical vessel will like show me another sign. Other times it's quite literally just I'll hear the frequency, and I might get a message, you know, a few days later that's connected to it. You know, as time isn't linear, and the more we continue to tap into that multidimensionality, it's like things really are quite less linear and just kind of like come in as we need it and in the right timing. So not that it's not that way anyway, but as we attune more to that knowing and kind of like adapt that as our reality, I'm seeing like a lot of moving parts, and then just like a synchronistic flow and weaving. So it's much more like weaving and allowing for that flow. Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm staying at my friend's house, and she has an ice machine, like in her freezer. We both drink iced. I only use ice for my espresso. And she went away this weekend, and she just came back today, and it was so weird. Like, the ice machine stopped, like, making itself ice, and I didn't want to, like, mess with it too much, so I just kind of, like, mentioned it to her, and, like, the whole ice thing was, like, almost empty. And it, like, had not done anything. And just now, as I was finishing up that message, I heard the ice machine on its own just, like, start moving and creating more ice. So there could be, like, a really deep emotional, like, you know, like an iceberg, when you look down at the iceberg and you can really just see the tip, and there's, like, so much more. So there could be, I'm hearing preserved on ice. So there could be something that, like, emotionally speaking, it doesn't have to be emotional, but I'm getting mostly, like, the emotional body, where it was kind of, like, preserved on ice. And there's about to be movement in that. And, you know, sometimes, especially, like, a lot of in today with, like, the healing community, it's like, we need to heal everything right now. And sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming. So I'm hearing trust your own timing, and, like, the idea of, you know, what happens when we preserve something on ice, like, it imprints, and then, like, when it melts, you know, there could be, like, I'm hearing, like, a nice reminder or surprise of something that you may have, like, forgotten about, kind of like a wisdom nugget, or a, like, a message encoded in the ice that you, like, preserved for yourself, and it's going to, like, show itself. So that's kind of cool. I just got very thirsty all of a sudden, and I have water next to me in a blue bottle. So yeah, just a reminder that if you're already staying hydrated, then great. But if not, you may want to be a little extra hydrated right now. And I just heard in my head, cry. So if you're feeling like you're crying, or you need to cry, or you just cried, I'm just hearing embrace in that catharticism, because yeah, it's a very cleansing, purifying time. I'm going to pull one more card, and then I'm probably going to end this. And again, I'm hearing in that head redirection, like trust and redirection. So I was drawn to a few things in the room I'm sitting in, and I was going to speak about them, but I'm not. I'm just going to see if they come up again. This is very specific, so this may only, like, apply to one person, but my friend who I'm staying with for a long time, like, wouldn't smile by showing her teeth for so long. And I just looked over at this picture of her, and she's smiling, and it's in, like, a picture that says Vogue. Like, it's probably one of those, you know, like, pictures you can, like, cut out and then add your own picture. I'm not really into that stuff. But anyway, so it says Vogue, so that could be relevant for someone, you know, modeling, photography. That could be, like, one part of this. But then the other part I'm getting is, like, if you're someone who's, like, really insecure about, like, your smile, or, yeah, I'm just getting that for some reason. I'm hearing maybe you can practice with some mirror gazing, like gazing in the mirror. I like to start, when I started doing that, I look in the left eye, and it can be very difficult at first, you know, be patient with yourself, and, you know, you can do some nice, like, affirmations, or I like to listen to subliminals, or just put on music that makes you feel good, or whatever background, you know, nature sounds, and, you know, start slow, and just really start, if you feel called to do this, to build up to, like, smiling. And it doesn't have to be smiling. It can be really any insecurity that you have with your physicality. But I was specifically getting smiling. But yeah, it could be really anything. Just maybe doing some mirror work. Or if there's something you have been doing, then I feel like it's really helping. Because, yeah, her not smiling thing was... It probably, like, stopped, like, I don't know, last couple years. And... I was just really drawn to talk about that. So, okay. I'm also hearing if someone has like been peeing so much, like peeing a lot more than usual. Maybe you always do, but I feel like lately, if it's been like even more, just know that you know, I'm not a doctor, of course. So, but yeah, it's really connected to this like release and purging type of thing. And they say like our, I'm hearing the spleen now. Like they say our spleen is connected to decision. I've done this quite a few times in this reading, so maybe even feeling very I can't even say it. Tongue-tied or tongue-twisted. Is that the right way to say it? Tongue-twisted? Tongue-tied? Maybe just a little bit more, you know, like grounding. You can look it up on YouTube if you want any suggestions. There's so many ways to ground, but even just like, you know, really taking a second to slow down and just be a little bit more present and connect in with yourself. But know that it will pass. Like these are just some of the, you know, rewiring type of things that we go through when when we do some of this releasing and work. And some of you may already know this, and this is just like a confirmation. And if you don't, then yeah, it might just help someone kind of feel into what's going on. But mirror work could be really helpful right now. Or like I said, if you've been doing it, then and for a very few number of you, if you are doing mirror work and you started to like scry and you didn't know what that was, like if you start to like see things like shifting in the mirror or like, you know, things like moving around, just know your mirror is scrying. And I believe I already posted a video about that, but if you want to know more about mirror scrying, please comment, and I would love to do like a whole thing on that because it's one of my go-tos. All right, I've shuffled a lot. Let's see if anything else wants to come out. No, that was like 10. I'm not doing all of those. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, so the bottom of the deck, Atoms and Stardust. Oh, I love that. And then the card that popped out, Orbs of Light, Omnipresence. Oh, what a beautiful way to end. Yeah, so this week I've actually been seeing a lot more, I'll say like, how do I want to say this? I often see orbs, you know, all day long. But there's been something this week about like a surge, if you will, where I feel like I've been, like the other day, I like turned my head and this like, I don't know, let me think of the right wording to describe this. It's funny, I'm seeing a curtain again. I feel like that came up in the beginning of the reading. Almost like when you like wave a ribbon or a curtain and it kind of like flows through the, like, you know, flows through the air quickly when you spin it fast. It was like that. Like I saw this like wave of energy just like flow through. I feel like it was almost like a blush color. But like a little bit more orangey. And yeah, so like I said, I already experienced this a lot, but I feel like yesterday and today, and like especially this week, has just been like a surge in, there's like many other examples, but that's the only one I'm being guided to give at the moment. But yeah, with this card, I am feeling that for those of you who are also experiencing this, I just heard ramping up, so it may actually increase. And I'm hearing it's working with your cellular structure in terms of like, oh yeah, I'm releasing a lot of, out of my throat right now. So, like kind of like that fear, cellular DNA patterning that like, you may be like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this. Like, I want to see, you know, more, beyond the veil and connects more with those parts, that multidimensionality. And then like you might notice like, oh, like your body might get a little bit nervous and you're like, why am I getting scared? Like, I'm really excited. There could be like some of that, like, just ancestral DNA memory of you, like flushing that out so that, your mind and your body are more in alignment. It could be the opposite too. And that message may not be for everyone. Some people here may not be going through that, but know that if you are kind of sort of like still experiencing, sometimes I noticed last night when I was trying to fall asleep, I was seeing so much, like, and I love that. But there was like a part of me that was almost like a little bit like kind of checking behind my back, like, even though like I asked for these things, and it's just, I noticed my cellular, now that I'm getting this message even extra, some of my cellular patterning may still be flushing out a little bit of those fear patterns. And, if it's not you personally, you may, like I realized last night, I didn't know I was going to do this message, but I think I was picking up on collective energy, and that happens a lot. So you may be someone who also is really tuned into the collective, even if you're not like fully aware of it all the time, and you may be picking up on other people's like fears of seeing beyond illusion, seeing more truth. It could be literally seeing orbs of light, or it could even just be, I'm hearing that expression, like bury your head in the sand. Like some people still just kind of want to like stay in that like safe 3D matrix world, and that's totally okay. If that's their thing, that's their thing. But for the person, if you're listening to this and you connect to this message, it's just an invitation I'm hearing to like maybe set out some time to like really allow those orbs of light, to like kind of feel them like permeating through you, and allowing anything that doesn't serve or any fear that comes up for yourself or the collective, etc., just to be, washed away. I'm sure if you're connecting to this, you may already have your own practice, or this is an invitation to go deeper. I actually have a recorded video of like a guided astral journey to assist with this. So you can, it has like the thumbnail, it's like a big selenite portal. And if, there's a million things on YouTube, if you want to look something up on YouTube, listening to binaural beats, working with water and cleansing, things like that could be really helpful right now. But yeah, there's just something about that. Like seeing yourself also more in the facet of light. Like when you pick up certain crystals and you see how many faces it has and how it reflects and refracts light in so many different ways. If you've ever like held a crystal up to the sun, and you might see like an inclusion or a rainbow, some of you may actually be like tuning into your own like rainbow body, and you might start seeing like rainbows on yourself, and you're like, whoa, where's that coming from? And if not, you may be experiencing that soon. So yeah, there's something about balancing out any fears that are coming up, and knowing that it's most likely connected to ancestral DNA and or like collective stuff, and really just like having that patience, compassion, sending love, and then working with your own light body. And yeah, I keep seeing the rainbow, and the crystalline light. So really just like, I think that's why mirror work was also coming up. So you may start just seeing color even more. I believe this message was coming up yesterday as well, of deepening your relationship with like light and the different forms that it comes in, and how that pineal decalcification I was talking about, like that next layer and that next stage of rites of passage, is bringing you into this like world of color I'm hearing, and world of light, like really like from within, and letting it like show up, permeating through you and like glowing through you. Wow, that's so powerful. I like wasn't even sure if that was going to be shared, but it just kind of came out of my mouth like water. So yeah. Okay. Oh, you know what's funny? I just realized the back of these cards that my friend had the photo. They're like black and white and very old-timey. And I was just talking about like color and coming into that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so for a very select few of you, there may be like, I'm hearing like film strips, like these cards kind of look like a film strip a little bit, like that old-timey, like the negatives of the phone strip. I'm going to say film strip. Phone. You know what? There's two people holding hands on this card, on the back of these cards, on some of them, and on all of them, actually. They're all the same. Yeah, so if someone here is waiting for a phone call, oh, funny. And the other card that just flipped up, it says Pip and Bia have a message, telepathy. And then I said phone, quote, by accident, although I don't really think it was an accident. Pip and Bia are my friend's cats. I told you I made this deck for my friend, so these messages are more specific for her, but I figured I could still utilize them. Yeah, they're her two cats, and so that could be relevant as well. But I'm also hearing Cassiopeia, the star system. So if you connect to Cassiopeia, telepathy and phone. Yeah, so someone maybe like connecting through your, your mind's eye, your telepathic communication. And the fact that I said phone, there may be like a phone call coming in soon, a text message, an email. I'm seeing the phone more so than like an email, but it could really come through any form of electronics, but specifically phone. I don't know why I just heard in my head drunk dial. I'm not saying that this person's going to be drunk by any means, but I feel like what I'm more getting from that is like in the past, like especially if this is someone like, it doesn't even have to be a specific person, but like a behavior, like if you in the past would like, maybe do something like to let your inhibitions down so you could like, drunk dial someone by accident or like get someone to pay attention to you. I'm hearing like you're not in that energy at all anymore, and this is like attracting in, and if you are, that's okay. But it's more like this is like something you're attracting in magnetically. And I know I was saying something else connected to the telepathy. Oh, the film strips. Yeah, so for a select few of you, if you like connect with, either the Akashic Records or utilizing your third eye to receive messages, and you see like film strips or like it kind of comes through in like quick films or like, like projector style. I feel like you're going through an expansion. Even if you don't see it that way, that's okay, but that's like a very specific message for someone. Yeah, it's almost like, so in our pineal gland, if you're not familiar, there are these on each side of the forehead, like peripheral, pineal, purview, I'm hearing. Yeah, like your purview, your peripherals are expanding. So, if you want in this moment to just kind of sort of like do some tapping on the sides of your forehead, like above your eyebrows, like on your temples. The temples are connected to like these gateways allegedly, and I've connected with that before. So it's kind of like you're going deeper within your own, through these rites of passage into these inner gateways that are taking you through a peripheral expansion. So I remember when I first went through this, I wish I remember the woman's name. I like went on this, I was just guided to go to this woman's, like, this was like years ago, online event or online activation. And I remember like, it was like two corks like flew out of the side of my head, and I just had this like burst of expansion. Like I already felt like I was so like seeing so when my eyes were closed, like so expansively, but it was like blinders were taken off, and it just like, I was like completely engulfed in it. And ever since then, it never like went away. It only continued to expand. So, if you already have gone through this, there's always new layers. You may be expanding even more, but if this is your first time, like having that, it may not be as like noticeable at first, but there will be like a more expansive peripheral clairvoyant experience, and that will trickle into the 3D as well. So like you may start, we were talking about the change in perspective, so you may start viewing things more from like the peripheral. Like I'm hearing like your senses may even be more engaged. Like, I don't know, maybe someone here is like engaging in like Kundalini yoga or martial arts or something, but it's like a cat. Like I talked about those cats that I just brought up, the telepathy card. Like how you're like walking and you might like notice things more out of your peripheral that you hadn't noticed before. Like things like that. Wow. Almost 1 hour exactly. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to end this here. I do offer personal sessions. So if you're interested, you can look in my information. I believe my email's there, or you can like contact me on Instagram or leave a comment or something. But I just wanted to say thank you so much if you're still here, and I hope that you receive whatever it is you're meant to receive from this, and all the different intentions that we co-created together, like before I started this, and whoever listens to this. So yeah, thank you.